It was a typical Thursday morning at the warehouse, and I was going through my usual routine of organizing inventory and preparing for the upcoming shipment. The bustling sounds of forklifts and chatter filled the air, but amidst the chaos, my attention was drawn to my two bosses, Tracy and Helen. Both women were in their 60s, but their charisma and confidence made them stand out among the crowd. Tracy, at 64, had silver-streaked hair that fell gracefully over her shoulders, while Helen, 60, had a head of chestnut curls that danced with energy. They commanded the room with their presence, and as I watched them interact, I felt a flutter in my chest that I couldn't quite understand. That day, however, something felt different. Tracy and Helen had a secretive air about them, exchanging glances filled with an unspoken understanding. As the clock struck noon, they called me into the office. My heart raced with anticipation, wondering what they needed from me. Their office was cozy, filled with plants and soft lighting, an inviting contrast to the industrial vibe of the warehouse. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking my video. Could you do us a favor? Tracy asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Of course, I replied, my curiosity piqued. Helen leaned in closer, her voice low and inviting. We need you to help us organize the storage room. But there's a catch. We need it done in complete privacy. Before I could ask what she meant, Tracy moved to the door and locked it, a sly smile spreading across her face. Just the three of us, no interruptions. I felt a rush of excitement and trepidation, and as they led me to the back of the warehouse where the storage room awaited, the air was thick with anticipation. I couldn't help but wonder what they had planned. Once inside, they began pulling boxes off the shelves, their laughter ringing through the room. I joined in, but my focus was divided. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a simple task. As we worked, the atmosphere shifted. The playful banter turned into shared glances, lingering touches, and quiet laughter that felt charged with something deeper. Helen brushed her hand against mine as she handed me a box, sending a jolt of electricity through my veins. Tracy caught my gaze and held it longer than necessary, her smile warm and inviting. The heat in the room was palpable, and I could sense the tension rising. After an hour of organizing, we took a break, sitting on the floor amidst the boxes. We shared stories and laughter, the initial task forgotten. I was captivated by their stories, their lives, their experiences, and the wisdom that came with age. It was intoxicating, and I found myself leaning closer, drawn to them both in ways I never thought possible. Helen, ever the instigator, playfully nudged Tracy. You know, we've been waiting for the right moment to tell you something. My heart raced. What could it be? Tracy smiled knowingly, as if she had been expecting this moment. What is it? I asked, unable to hide my intrigue. Tracy took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto mine. We've noticed a connection between us, and we want to explore it further. My pulse quickened. There's something about you that draws us in, and we want to see where this leads. The world around us faded, and all that mattered was the charged space between us. Are you serious? I stammered, trying to process their words. Absolutely, Helen said, her voice a sultry whisper. We're not just your bosses, we want to be more than that. Before I could respond, Tracy leaned in closer, brushing her lips against my ear. Are you open to this? I could hardly breathe, the air thick with unspoken desires. I nodded, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. They moved closer, and suddenly the distance between us vanished. Helen's hand found its way to my cheek, her touch soft and inviting. I leaned into her palm, reveling in the warmth of her skin. Don't miss out on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button now and be part of something big before everyone else. Tracy's fingers danced along my arm, igniting a fire within me that I had never felt before. Our lips met in a tentative kiss, and I felt the world dissolve around us. It was sweet and soft, a lingering promise of what was to come. I could taste the hint of coffee on Tracy's lips and the warmth of Helen's breath as she pulled me closer. The kiss deepened, and I found myself lost in the moment, surrendering to the sensations that enveloped me. I felt myself melting between them, their bodies a comforting presence against mine. Helen's hands tangled in my hair, gently pulling me closer, as Tracy's fingers traced the curve of my waist, igniting a fire that spread through my entire being. Time ceased to exist as we lost ourselves in the rhythm of our bodies. Helen's lips traveled down my neck, leaving a trail of warmth and desire, while Tracy's kisses ignited a sense of urgency within me. Their bodies pressed against mine, the heat rising as we explored uncharted territory, both exhilarating and frightening. I could feel the passion building, the sweet tension stretching taut between us. They shared secret glances filled with longing, and the air crackled with unspoken words. "This is just the beginning," Tracy murmured, her breath hot against my ear. With each kiss, each caress, I felt the boundaries blur between desire and reality. The warehouse faded into the background, leaving only the three of us and the electric connection that ignited our senses. Helen pulled away slightly, her eyes locked onto mine, the intensity in her gaze leaving me breathless. "We want to explore every part of you," she whispered, her voice low and sultry. I felt myself shiver at her words, my heart racing as anticipation coursed through my veins. The thrill of the unknown enveloped us, and I found myself nodding, eager to dive deeper into this newfound intimacy. "I want that too," I admitted, the truth spilling from my lips with a sincerity that surprised me. With newfound determination, they took my hands, guiding me to my feet. We moved together, a synchronized dance fueled by passion and desire. Tracy led the way, her hands sliding down my sides as Helen pressed against my back, her warmth enveloping me. We explored each other, fingers tracing soft curves and solid lines, igniting sparks with every touch. They took turns capturing my lips, the kisses growing more fervent, more demanding. I could feel their hearts racing against mine, a symphony of desire that filled the surrounding air, while Helen pressed soft kisses along my collarbone, leaving me breathless. Every brush of their lips awakened parts of me I never knew existed. The warehouse, once a place of work, transformed into our private haven, a sanctuary where our desires could be unleashed without judgment. We lost ourselves in the rhythm of our bodies, a passionate exploration that seemed to last forever, each kiss, each touch, drawing us closer together, binding us in a tapestry of intimacy. I felt cherished, desired, and alive in a way I had never experienced before. Hours slipped by as we surrendered to the moment, the world outside forgotten. Our bodies moved together, a beautiful intertwining of passion and tenderness, the intimacy blossoming with every heartbeat. It was as if we had created our own universe within those four walls, one filled with warmth, laughter, and the intoxicating taste of love. Eventually we slowed, our breaths mingling in the air, a soft lullaby after the storm of passion. I felt their hearts beating against mine, a beautiful harmony that resonated deep within my soul. In that moment, I knew we had crossed a threshold, one that would forever change the dynamics of our relationship. Helen brushed her fingers against my cheek, a soft smile gracing her lips. "This is just the beginning for us," she whispered, and I couldn't help but agree. The promise of more adventures, more intimacy, and more shared moments hung in the air, intoxicating us both. As we sat together, the weight of the world faded away. I felt a connection with them that transcended the physical, a bond forged in trust, laughter, and a shared journey into the depths of desire. My heart swelled with anticipation for what lay ahead, for the uncharted territory we had just begun to explore. As the sun began to set outside the warehouse, casting golden hues through the small windows, I realized that what had started as a simple task had transformed into something far more profound. Tracy and Helen were not just my bosses, they were my partners, my confidants, and now the women with whom I would embark on a passionate adventure unlike any I had ever known. In that moment of stillness, we locked eyes, and I knew that we were bound together by something extraordinary, a love that was just beginning to unfold, waiting to be explored with every lingering kiss, every soft caress, and every whispered promise of what was yet to come. The warehouse door may have been locked, but our hearts were wide open, ready to embrace the adventure of a lifetime, as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue throughout the warehouse. Couldn't help but feel that this moment was the beginning of something extraordinary. The air was thick with possibility, and the three of us shared glances filled with unspoken desires. I turned to Tracy and Helen, their eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and tenderness, and I knew that I was ready to dive deeper into this adventure. "Where do we go from here?" I asked, my voice a soft whisper that hung in the air. Tracy smiled, her gaze softening as she stepped closer to me. Let's take our time and savor every moment, she replied. This is about exploring each other, discovering what we truly desire. I felt a rush of warmth at her words, my heart racing with the thrill of the unknown. Helen moved in closer, brushing her fingers along my arm, leaving a trail of warmth in their wake. We can start with something simple, she suggested, her voice low and inviting. Let's share our dreams, our desires. What do you truly want? Her question hung in the air, and I felt a wave of vulnerability wash over me. I had never shared my innermost desires with anyone before, let alone with two women who held so much allure. Taking a deep breath, I opened up to them. I've always wanted to explore love without boundaries, to share a connection that goes beyond the physical, I confessed. I looked into their eyes, seeing the spark of understanding flicker between us. I want to experience something real and passionate, where we can be ourselves without fear. Their expressions shifted, the warmth in their gazes deepening. That's what we want too, Tracy said softly, stepping even closer. We've been waiting for someone like you to come into our lives, someone who understands the beauty of connection. Helen nodded, her eyes shimmering with emotion. We want to create memories together, moments that we'll cherish forever. With that, the air between us changed, becoming charged with intimacy. Tracy took my hand and led me to a cozy corner of the warehouse, where sunlight streamed in through a dusty window, illuminating the space like a soft spotlight. We sat down together, a gentle warmth surrounding us. I felt a mixture of nerves and excitement as we settled into this new phase of our relationship. As we sat together, the conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving a tapestry of our shared dreams and fantasies. Tracy's voice was soothing, filled with warmth as she shared her vision of love, a bond built on trust and understanding, where every touch and kiss held meaning. Helen chimed in, her laughter infectious as she talked about her wildest dreams, painting a picture of adventure and passion. The more we talked, the more I felt my heart open up to them. Each shared story brought us closer together, and soon we found ourselves leaning in, our faces mere inches apart. I could feel the warmth radiating from their bodies, drawing me in like a moth to a flame. There was an unspoken agreement among us, a desire to explore not just our bodies but also our hearts and souls. Finally, it was Tracy who broke the silence. What if we make a promise to each other? She suggested, her voice filled with sincerity. A promise to explore this connection fully, without fear or hesitation. Her eyes sparkled with intensity as she spoke. To be completely open with one another, sharing everything that comes to our hearts. I love that idea, I replied, feeling a rush of excitement at the thought of this commitment. Helen nodded enthusiastically, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. Let's promise to cherish every moment we share, to be honest and open with each other, she added. We extended our pinky fingers in a playful gesture, sealing our promise. The moment felt sacred, a bond forged in trust and shared desires. As we released our fingers, I felt a surge of warmth wash over me, and I knew we were stepping into a beautiful journey together. The warmth of the setting sun poured in through the window, casting a soft glow around us. In that intimate space, the world outside faded away, leaving just the three of us and the electric energy that surrounded us. Tracy leaned in first, brushing her lips against mine. It was a gentle kiss, tender and sweet, igniting a spark that spread through my entire being. I could taste the warmth of her breath, the sweetness of the moment filling the air. Helen, not wanting to be left out, pressed her lips against my cheek, then trailed soft kisses down my neck. I shivered at her touch, my heart racing as I leaned into the sensation. The world outside melted away, and all I could feel was the intoxicating connection between us. With every kiss, every gentle caress, the bond between us deepened, solidifying our shared desires. As the sun sank lower, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, I lost myself in the rhythm of our shared intimacy. Each kiss became more passionate, more demanding, as we explored the depths of our connection. I could feel Tracy's hands roaming over my back, her fingers tracing gentle patterns, while Helen's hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer as she captured my lips with hers. "Let's take our time," Tracy murmured between kisses. "We have all night." Her voice was thick with desire, and I could see the fire in her eyes reflecting my own. I nodded, overwhelmed by the beauty of the moment. We had created a bubble of intimacy, a a sanctuary where we could freely explore the depths of our feelings for one another. As the night wore on, our kisses grew deeper, more urgent. Helen's fingers danced along my skin, igniting a trail of heat wherever they touched. The warehouse was filled with the sound of our soft laughter and whispered promises, a melody that echoed through the empty space. Time seemed to stand still, each moment stretching into eternity as we surrendered to the magic of our connection. I could feel my heart racing as we explored every inch of one another, the warmth of their bodies enveloping me, the intimacy of our shared experiences drawing us closer together. I marveled at how quickly we had become intertwined in this beautiful dance, a celebration of love, trust, and passion. In that secluded corner of the warehouse, we created a world of our own, one filled with laughter, love, and unbridled desire. Every kiss, every touch was a promise of what was to come. As the night unfolded, we dove deeper into our adventure, exploring not just each other's bodies, but the very essence of who we were. And I knew that this was just the beginning of a lifelong journey. A beautiful tapestry woven from the threads of love and connection we had just begun to explore together. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, we lost ourselves in a passionate embrace, our bodies entwined in a beautiful dance of desire. The world outside faded away completely, leaving only the three of us and the intoxicating chemistry that crackled in the air. With every kiss, every caress, we explored each other with a sense of urgency, as if we were afraid to let this moment slip away. Tracy's hands roamed freely over my body, her fingers igniting a fire within me. I could feel the heat radiating off her skin as I pulled her closer, our breaths mingling in a sweet harmony of desire. Helen watched us with a glimmer of mischief in her eyes before joining the dance. She wrapped her arms around both of us, her touch warm and inviting. Our kisses grew more fervent, more desperate, as we explored the depths of our connection. I could feel the softness of Helen's lips against my neck, her breath hot and inviting, while Tracy's hands tugged at my shirt, urging me to let go of any lingering hesitation. With a gentle tug, she pulled it off, her hands tracing the contours of my body, mapping every inch as if it were a treasure to be discovered. I could feel the pulse of passion between us, a rhythm that drove us forward into a world where nothing else mattered. As the night deepened, we surrendered completely to the moment. The warehouse became our sanctuary, filled with whispers, laughter, and the symphony of our shared desires. We shared kisses that spoke of promise and longing, hands exploring every curve and edge, igniting a passion that felt limitless. It was more than just physical. It was an exploration of trust, vulnerability, and deep connection. Our bodies moved together in perfect harmony, a beautiful dance of love and desire that drew us ever closer. We lost ourselves in one another, each kiss deepening the bond between us, solidifying our connection in a way that felt both thrilling and sacred. In that magical night, we became more than just three souls in a warehouse. We became a beautiful tapestry woven together by love, desire, and an unbreakable bond that would last a lifetime.